Hi everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at my post-processing steps that I take with most of my images. And one of the images that I took on my most recent vlog to the Thurrock area with my camera club. And I'm going to process one of the images that I didn't post in that vlog and turn it into a black and white using the Google Nik Collection's EFS Pro 2 application program that I've downloaded, which I'll put a link to in the description below. So it's a free program, really good details on there, really good functions as well that you could actually use. So hopefully you enjoy that and enjoy the processes that I take you through today. So jumping straight into the project now, this is from my latest or last vlog in the Thurrock area when I went out with my camera club. And what I tend to do is when I've completed a shoot, I take the SD card out of my camera, upload it onto my desktop and collate all the images into that folder, and obviously create a date for that folder as well. So obviously I know what images I've taken on that particular day. So what we're going to look at today is one of the images that I didn't put into the actual vlog, and it's this one at the top here. So what I tend to do is open up all of the images into the photo viewer. And this is the image that we're going to look at today. It's quite a good image, I feel, because we've got the tree stump here, which has got some really good detail in the bark. We've got the pond as the mid background, and then the trees and the sky as well in the far background. So I think converting this into a black and white, really trying to bring out the details in the actual tree bark would work really well. Use Adobe Elements 10, and we'll just go from there. So this is the image now opened up in the Camera Raw processor program, and first things I tend to do is I have a quick glance at the histogram at the top here. I try to look if it's not too much clipped to the left or to the right, so we can obviously just make sure that it's a well balanced image. Not too bad within this image, however, as you can see there is some highlights in the sky. So I tend to then look down the sliders here. Temperature and tint, I don't tend to really adjust those too much. The white balance as well I leave as per shot, unless obviously need to change that. I then come down onto the main sliders here. Exposure, I do adjust that occasionally, depending on obviously the image, if I haven't tried to adjust that in the camera when I'm actually shooting. The recovery function, I actually slide that all the way up to 100%, just so I can obviously get that detail back within the sky, and as you can see it's brought the image right back down, no highlights now. Fill light, don't really tend to use that unless obviously required to do so within the actual image, and I then move on to the blacks. Blacks I do like to bring out, so obviously got some true black, and then I've got that full sort of dynamic range all the way through the image. So as you mostly know, the function key of holding down Alt and obviously dragging that function along to obviously increase the blacks. But I'll need to drop it down a little bit further now. So about there, I think. That's good. Brightness and contrast, don't really tend to touch those sliders too much, to be fair. Clarity, I always boost my clarity up to 100%, and then as I'm turning this into a black and white, I feel like I can play around quite a bit within the vibrance and the saturation sliders as well. So with the vibrance slider, I'm going to push that up quite a bit to sort of bring out those colours, and as I say, when you convert that into a black and white, we can really bring out those details. So I kind of like that there. And then with the saturation, again a little bit of extra boost on that one. So that's the image processed in the Camera Raw. Simply open image. So this is the image opened up in Adobe Elements 10, and that's a program that I tend to feel quite comfortable using. I've had it for a number of years. It's quite an old program in the aspect of things. However, I feel that the functions that it gives me meet all of my editing or post-processing needs. For those that will see, we've got the Google Nik Collections box here. I will put a link to this in the description so you can click on it. It is a free program and offers quite a wide variety of different functions on there. However, the main function that I'll be going into in a little bit more depth shortly is the Silver EFS Pro 2, which is the black and white conversion. For the moment, no, I'm just going to minimize that. So simply, the first processes that I actually do on my editing is make a copy of the of the background. So simply Control A, Control C and Control V to make that copy. So from here, where do we go next? So I tend to like looking at adjustment layers just to bring out the detail in the foreground and detail in the background as well. So I bring onto the levels adjustments and start to play around with the slider. So I tend to do this quite a lot in my landscape images, with the foreground being slightly darker, it tends to be, than the sky, and then obviously adjusting them slightly from that point. However, with this images, there's only very limited detail, or limited sky should I say. There's obviously no need to really process that image in that format. So I think I'm going to probably leave that back as it is, and as I'm not going to be using that layer, I will get rid. So I think I'm quite happy with that. There's no sort of little touch-ups or anything that I want to clone in or clone out of the image. So from here I will open up the Silver EFX Pro 2. This is the image opened up in Google Nik Collections, Silver EFX Pro 2, and you have 38 options to convert the image into a black and white. Simply, I work my way through all of the options to work out which of those options is going to be best for that actual image. I do have a few go-to options, however they tend to not always work for every single image. You need to have a good look at all of the options available to you. You can make some subtle changes over on the right hand side sliders, however I don't tend to use those too much, and I tend to finish off with the finish adjustments at the end. However, I will go into this shortly. So simply work my way through all of the selections. This is the image that I like and we're going to work with today. It brings out a lot of detail in the bark. I feel it's still got the detail within the pondweed. The trees are really good outlined against the sky as well. So what I want to do in the final finishing adjustments is look at the vignette and the burnt edges as well. So the vignette, I tend to use the effects of the lens fall off 1, 2 and 3. But within this image I'm probably going to go for lens fall off 2. Just because it gets that darker image, it really focuses in onto the actual tree stump, which is the main point of focus within the actual image. The burned edges as well, I tend to look at either all edges 1 or all edges 2. However, all edges 2 is probably going to be a bit too harsh, so I'll just select the 1. And simply click OK and process the image. This is the final image opened up in Adobe Elements 10, and what I tend to do as my final adjustment is just bring over the crop tool just so I can frame up the image correctly. I try to do this as much as possible in camera, however you never can know. This was a handheld image, so I've got the detail of the stump in the middle. And actually the frame of this looks quite well. There's nothing at the top that I wanted to get rid of. I could possibly, if I wish, to reduce some of that sky, which I think I'll probably bring down to about there. There's got too much of the sky there, I feel. The foreground as well, I think that's not too bad as well. I actually quite like that. So once I've selected that, click OK. I will save this image as a PSD file for future adjustments if required. And finally, I will save this as a higher resolution JPEG for any competitions that I wish to enter as part of my camera club. So I hope you enjoyed the steps that I take when I post-process my images and convert them into black and white using that Google Nik Collections application program. It's really good. As I said earlier, I'll put a link in that below just so you can obviously download that. It is a free application, so really good. If you've enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing. If you've already subscribed, please make sure you click on that bell icon so you get notified each time that I have posted a video. And thanks a lot for watching, and take care.